What is going on, YouTube? In today's video, I'm going to be giving you 7 tips how to become a better technician in 2021. Stay tuned. Just a little bit of an intro. We got a new microphone, trying to up the quality of the vlogs. And if you're curious or interested in what's going on with the Jeep, be sure to check out my previous videos. You'll get a full rundown. It's probably pretty boring, but that's okay. In today's video, I wanted to talk about being a Ferrari technician, how I got to be a Ferrari technician, and give some fellow technicians / mechanics a little bit of advice on how to get where I am now. Like most of you guys, I started out on the independent side of the industry. I worked on the independent side for about 5 years before I wound up going to a Kia dealership. I was in the process of becoming Kia certified when I got the opportunity to move over to Porsche. I was at Porsche for about 2 years before COVID hit, and unfortunately the company that I worked for at the time laid off a lot of employees due to the COVID pandemic. During the pandemic, I decided that I'm not going to let this situation set me back, so I started applying. I applied to Lamborghini, McLaren, and Ferrari was the employment opportunity that wound up working out in the end. That's cool. I almost got Lamborghini, but they were interviewing a Mercedes Master Tech who was in a similar situation. He wound up getting the job. Anyways, let's get into the tips. Tip number 1, be proactive. The job is not going to find you. You are going to find the job. What I mean by that is if you are working your 9 to 5 or working your 8 to 5, wherever you are, and you're not actively seeking out new employment with a company that you'd be happy to work for, it's not going to come to you. So there's tip number 1, is being proactive. But at the same time, you have to be patient. That's still part of tip number 1. And you're going to have to climb the ladder. Do not be afraid to go out and get what you want, which is that awesome new job. Tip number 2, being punctual. Punctuality will save you in so many different situations. My personal work ethic is our service department is open from 7 to 5, and you're only required to be there for 8 hours, which means if you show up at 7, you can leave at 4. If you show up at 8, you're leaving at 5. Personally, I choose the 7 to 4 route because I avoid traffic on both ends. Just saves me a lot of time overall, and not only that, but I like being the first person there. On top of those benefits from being punctual and showing up to work early, you get to settle in before work, and your boss is typically willing to put up with more mistakes. They know mistakes are going to happen, but if you are punctual and you're on time, they're more willing to forgive you or give you some leniency when you make mistakes, and trust me, you will make mistakes. Tip number 3, tools. Don't be afraid to buy tools. Now, there's a caveat to that. Don't put yourself in too much debt, because when you put yourself in debt because of tools, your job becomes that much more stressful when it comes to paying your tools back. There is a difference between Snap-on and the other brands. Personally, what I did in my career was I purchased the cheaper tools and then traded them up for Snap-on tools, because when you're working on the level of exotics like Ferrari and McLaren and Lamborghini, I mean, I've worked on Sennas, Aventadors, Huracans on the off-brand side, and everything on the Ferrari side all the way up to the LaFerraris. But your clients deserve the best experience, and you know what? When you're working at this level, so do you. You deserve the best. Make sure that you don't do it the wrong way and just buy what you need. But definitely avoid too much debt. Tip number 4, training. Factory training, aftermarket training. It doesn't matter if you are working in the independent or on the factory level or the dealership level. Training will always make you a better technician, and it is invaluable. When I was on the independent side, Bosch, the company that makes a lot of aftermarket parts, did a training session that I took advantage of. Did I think it was the best? Maybe not. Maybe it was. But the most valuable training that I've gotten is from the manufacturer. Whether it was Kia training, Porsche training, Ferrari training. I mean, I'm about to be Ferrari certified. Getting that factory training and being able to ask your instructor questions is by far one of the most valuable tools you can have as a technician. Tip number 5. Hard days and or bad days. They will happen, and they will make you question your sanity. I've had many, many days like this. A lot of times on the Lotus side, I am questioning whether or not what I'm doing is the right thing as far as my career is concerned. But The nice thing about a hard day or a bad day is tomorrow is a new day. One of the things I always am reminding myself of is after I have a bad day, I know that it is up to me to make the next day better. And that's just kind of a life rule, but it definitely applies in this situation. We're almost getting through this list, boys and girls. Tip number 6. Tough DIAG. I just recently had a Lotus that had a power circuit shorting to ground. Basically, there was a rubbed wire. I'll insert some photos right here. Essentially, what wound up happening is a wiring harness wasn't secured correctly and wound up rubbing on the chassis, sending battery voltage to ground. And what that did is it caused a bunch of fuses to blow and a bunch of circuits to not operate correctly. But finding that fault is every technician's worst nightmare. Advanced electrical diagnostics is what I would call it. It's not necessarily a communication circuit. It is a basic electrical circuit, but that's how that particular experience on that Lotus wound up working out. There was another situation with a Bentley and an XM radio antenna that was a pinched wire. It's just remember, the tough DIAG is only going to make you a better technician. Utilize your resources, whether it's the workshop manual or open a tech line case if you're working in a dealership setting. Once you overcome those hurdles, success builds confidence in you as a technician, builds confidence in your management in you as a technician. So it's just a win-win. Don't give up. Never, ever, ever give up. Last, but definitely not least, number 7. Know your worth, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's watching this video. Don't work for free. And make sure, if you're on flat rate, to maximize your profits. Now, there is a very legitimate way to do this. For example, if you are selling any type of suspension work, sell an alignment with it. It's justified, it benefits the client, the customer, whoever it is, and you don't and you don't have to worry about it harming your reputation because you're not doing anything shady. This is providing a service for your client, but at the same time, you're making money on top of it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's my 7 tips for becoming a better technician in 2021. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to smash that like button so we can break the YouTube algorithm, turn it blue for me. It would mean the world to me. Be sure to smash the subscribe button as well. And until the next video, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm out. Later. I see when I look up in the sky, when I look up at the clouds, I see an angel in the skies. I don't know where, I don't know how. When I look up in the sky, when I look up at the clouds, I see an angel in the skies. I don't know where, I don't know how. I see you falling from the sky.